May I ask, Dr. Ford, how did you get to Washington?
In an airplane.
Okay. I asked that because it's been reported by the press that you would not submit to an interview with the committee because of your fear of flying. Is that true?
Well, I was hoping that they would come to me, but then realized that was an unrealistic request.
It would have been a quicker trip for me.
Look at the mousy act. I mean, it's just disgusting.
That was certainly what I was hoping, was to avoid having to get on an airplane, but I eventually was able to get up the gumption with the help of some friends and get on the plane.
When you were here in the mid-Atlantic area back in August, end of July, August, how did you get here?
Also by airplane. I come here once a year during the summer to visit my family.
So, we know something about the crazed Democrats, the Chi-Coms that fund them, the anti-American Hollywood scum, whose religion is that they own and run America. And they would run the country into the ground and destroy it so that they could feel like they were better than it. So it is a real issue of people that are projecting their hatred of themselves onto us. That's why the globalists are such trash. Now, the hunchback demons up there in Congress, like Cory Booker, and I'm saying he's spiritually hunchback, and Dianne Feinstein and others, have lied the whole time, moved the goalposts down the road, and then every time one woman gets discredited and every witness says there was never a party, we were never there, they never have any witnesses, but they remember every other little detail, except what year it was and what neighborhood it was and what house, they move on to a new allegation. I have seen 3 different news reports since last week of different letters or phone calls where someone sends a letter, no name, no return address, saying, I saw Kavanaugh rape my daughter in the back of a car 35 years ago. And then it's all over the news. Well, I saw the Loch Ness Monster in my toilet this morning. Don't have any proof of it. So they just move on to the next fraud. And now they're just saying whether he's guilty or not, Cory Booker says, we just need to not confirm him. It's called authoritarianism. The good news is their bullying and their intimidation is radicalizing even the blue blood Republicans to understand what a clear and present danger the criminal Democrat Party is, allied with the Chi-Coms, and how they're election meddling through Hollywood and the Chi-Com funding, and how the Chi-Coms are running full-page ads in magazines and newspapers all over this country. So, let's get in to the bombshell proof. First off, tomorrow's news today, here is a Paul Joseph Watson, September 6th. That's almost a month ago, 2018. Man caught paying off Kavanaugh protest, works for Soros-funded organization, and is a lawyer. We name him, and we name the other Soros operatives who were then drug out by the police. Look at Fox News, the big exclusive. Anti-Kavanaugh protesters accosting senators have ties to Soros. Really? You think so? He only spends billions a year trying to overthrow this country. Now, let's move on to the other witnesses. We don't just have all 5 of her original witnesses saying it never happened, and her saying about one of her old friends that said it never happened, oh, she's been sick and dealing with some problems. And she sent me a letter saying, sorry, talk to my lawyer. But she said in a statement, under penalty of perjury, felony perjury, that it never happened and she doesn't remember any of it, period. That clip's coming up next segment. This is going to take this segment and the next to go through this. So, the story is up on Infowars.com. It's the best boil down from information liberation. Bombshell. Ford's ex-boyfriend says she had no fear of flying or living in enclosed spaces, helped friend prep for polygraph. But when we come back, we have the specific video of her looking down and going, I know nothing about polygraphs. It's like handing me a Remington 700-308 and I can shoot bullseye at 1,000 yards and I get the gun first time I shoot bullseye on it. I go, no, I know nothing about Remington 700s. I know nothing about it. The woman is a psych warfare operative working in huge DARPA mind control programs. That's what it is, implanting false memories, removing memories, creating false realities, close quote. What do you think they train operatives to do at the psychology facilities at Stanford? They train them to beat polygraphs. One of the first things you get taught to do. You can read it in the declassified documents. But there you go. This lady's connected to the Defense Language School. Who do you think they're training there? We got folks in this building that were trained at the Defense Language School. That's where spooks go to get trained. Not Easter bunnies. Not little cutesy baby-talking women. Let's continue. Bombshell. And then it goes through all the evidence. The next segment, I'm going to read through all of this. But let's get to the witnesses that no one's talking about and no one's giving any attention. Infowars.com. Travel photos. Ex-boyfriend sworn statement seals Ford's fate as a liar. That's right. She traveled to New Zealand over and over again and thought about relocating there. Because the globalists are taking that over. She went to Hawaii. She went to all these places recently. But now she has fears of wide open places. That's why she kayaks in the middle of big lakes. That's why she paddleboards. It's why she travels. Let me pull this article up, show TV viewers. All the way from the United States to New Zealand. All of this coming out. All of this. Ex-boyfriend of Blasey Ford says she wasn't afraid of flying or closed spaces. And it just goes from there. So who are the other witnesses? It's her. It's her record. It's her history. They tried to expunge her social media. They tried to expunge her Stanford record. They tried to expunge the reviews, but we were able to save a lot of them. And it turns out she never once talked about fear of open spaces or fear of travel. In fact, she traveled the world. But it turns out, she said, and it's all in these articles, that New Zealand wasn't far enough away, trying to reinvent herself. But I'd say she's reinvented herself now as an RU-486 operative, writing papers for it, trying to stop Kavanaugh, who might be against it. And she's done quite a job at Stanford and other universities, working in programs that deal with implanted memories. But let me tell you, there's not many places you can fly further than to New Zealand. What is that, a 18-hour flight? I mean, I guess Bangkok maybe is a little bit further from California. Maybe the middle of Russia. I don't know. The point is, it's about as far away, maybe Antarctica, maybe the bottom of the planet. That's 4,000 or 5,000 miles further for Cupcake. Maybe the tip of Chile. Maybe the Horn of Africa. I don't know. Maybe Easter Island. So, oh, it's only 12 hours, 50 minutes, so I guess it's close. Well, that shows no fear of flying. Because, remember, she couldn't fly that last week because they had to dig up some more professors. And it's all professors. Oh, a professor that Kavanaugh, no evidence shows, ever knew, who went to Yale with him. Some other professor says he saw a guy get in his face and Kavanaugh threw ice on him and the guy got arrested. Who the hell knows if that's even true? Oh, and then these other women, their boyfriends and fiancés and people gone public and said that they had to call the police on one of these other women. But I know this. I've had them in the media and law firms involved in it from the Democrats make up stories about me, and you look at it, you go, why did they say such weird stories that make no sense? Because they think if it's some really weird thing that, oh, it must be true because you wouldn't make something up like that. Like I'm hopping around the office in swastika shoes and, you know, saying anti-Semitic things and all this other made-up crap. They just make it up, and then they stick it in their filthy newspapers, and they destroy good people's lives. These people don't have consciences. Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. I'm going to get into the meat and potatoes now of Blasey Ford and others. It's all just disintegrating. It always disintegrated. And then it's worse than we thought. She's a globetrotter. Costa Rica, New Zealand. She trains people, reportedly as a psychologist, of course, that works in strange DARPA programs with her whole family in the CIA about how to get around lie detectors. Gee, Wonder who trains people for that. And just all of it. It's ridiculous. But now they've moved on just saying, well, you can't have Kavanaugh, period. Will he get confirmed? It's on the razor's edge. Will it get pushed past Friday? McConnell says no. But Feinstein thinks she can stop it. Disgraceful. Let's start going to the clips. Here's a flashback. Christine Ford is questioned about her fear of flying. And again, the articles are on Infowars.com of her traveling the world just recently. And her boyfriend, former boyfriend, said she was never afraid of flights. And I sat there and saw her train her friend how to take a polygraph test. Here it is.
May I ask, Dr. Ford, how did you get to Washington?
In an airplane.
Okay. I asked that because it's been reported by the press that you would not submit to an interview with the committee because of your fear of flying. Is that true?
Well, I was hoping that they would come to me, but then realized that was an unrealistic request.
It would have been a quicker trip for me.
Look at the mousy act. I mean, it's just disgusting.
That was certainly what I was hoping, was to avoid having to get on an airplane, but I eventually was able to get up the gumption with the help of some friends and get on the plane.
When you were here in the mid-Atlantic area back in August, end of July, August, how did you get here?
Also by airplane. I come here once a year during the summer to visit my family.
Okay.
I'm sorry, not here. I go to Delaware.
Okay. In fact, you fly fairly frequently for your hobbies, and you've had to fly for your work. Is that true?
Correct, unfortunately.
You were a consulting biostatistician in Sydney, Australia. Is that right?
I've never been to Australia, but the company that I worked for is based in Australia, and they have an office in San Francisco, California.
Okay.
I don't think I'll make it to Australia.
It is long. I also saw on your CV that you list the following interests of surf travel, and you, in parentheses, put Hawaii, Costa Rica, South Pacific Islands, and French Polynesia. Have you been all to those places?
Correct.
By airplane?
Yes.
And your
Hey, pause.
interests also...
I fall asleep on 3- and 4-hour flights. In Europe's okay, but let me tell you something. 15-hour flights, I've done them. I dread them. Just because after like 10 hours, you're like, get me out of this damn thing. Starts getting claustrophobic. This woman loves it. Oh, but she couldn't fly the week before. She was afraid. I'm afraid I'm a little baby. I work in implanted memories at a DARPA facility and do stuff for the Defense Language School and everything, but my whole family's in the CIA, high level. But I'm a sweet little lady. Oh, you may talk like a baby. I can't come. You need to wait a few weeks and delay it. I'm scared. I'm scared now. I have PTSD. I'm scared. But look at the real face. Because I saw she would go from like that little fake act to like Strzok. The country's ours. Abortion. It's our control now. Can you put the meme back up of her next to Strzok, please? When they're both making that face, like kind of like Private Pile in Full Metal Jacket. I am in a world of you know what. Don't you? It's our country now. Get out of the way. It's the pleasure of being in power and having control and implanting memories and hypnotizing people. Seeking power. Sorry, let's go back to the clips here. So, continuing. Here she is. Ford explains why she decided to take a polygraph test, and now they've had the FBI guy on Fox. We've got the clip. He gave her 2 questions. You give someone 20-plus questions if it's a real one, and still it's not conclusive. 20-plus just to get their reading before you ask the real questions. A real polygraph has over 100 questions. That's on average. But she got 2. Let's continue. Where she explains why she decided to take a polygraph, and now her ex-boyfriend says that he saw her helping train someone on how to pass one. Here it is.
Based on the advice of the counsel, I was happy to undergo the polygraph test, although I found it extremely stressful, much longer than I anticipated. I told my whole life story, I felt like, but I endured it. It was fine.
I understand they can be that way. Have you ever taken any other polygraphs in your life?
Never.
Okay. You went to see a gentleman by the name of Jeremiah Hannafin to serve as the polygrapher. Did anyone advise you on that choice?
Attorney-client privilege. And she's got literally the deep state
Yes,
top
I
lawyer.
believe his name was Jerry.
Jerry Hannafin.
Yeah.
And he has two questions.
Did anyone advise you on that choice?
I don't understand the... Yeah.
By the way,
I
that's
didn't
not a
choose
polygraph
him
test.
myself. He was the person that came to do the polygraph test.
They ask your name, your parents, where you work, what you do.
He actually conducted the polygraph
have a
not
dog?
in his office in Virginia, but actually at the hotel next to Baltimore Washington Airport. Is that right?
Correct.
Why was that location chosen for the polygraph?
I had left my grandmother's funeral at Fort Lincoln Cemetery that day and was on tight schedule to get a plane to Manchester, New Hampshire. So he was willing to come to me, which was appreciated.
And then she goes on to say
he
she's never
administered a
known anything about polygraphs, didn't even know what they are.
Funeral?
Or it might have been the next day. I spent the night in the hotel, so I don't remember the exact day.
He's a literal mind control doctor.
Have you ever had discussions with anyone besides your attorney
There's one of her papers.
on how to take a polygraph?
Never.
And I
Oh,
don't just
no.
mean
She just knows about mind
countermeasures,
control, not about
but I mean
polygraphs.
just any sort of tips or anything like that.
Oh, no.
No, I was scared of the test itself.
Oh,
but
she's
was
scared.
comfortable that-
Hit pause. She's like, I'm scared. I'm scared. I can't fly. I can't, my little shell. But the reviews in college said she's the worst. She's vindictive. She's lazy. She's horrible. She's into group hypnosis, brainwashing. But she's scared little girl. And go back that up 10 seconds. Ryan Stelter says she's scared. Here, let's hear it again.
Any sort of tips or anything like that?
No, I was scared of the test itself,
Oh.
but was comfortable that I could tell the information and the test.
I mean, who do you think they're going to get to go up and say this? A mind control doctor hooked into DARPA. The whole family's in the CIA. I rest my case. We're going to go to break, come back and play some of the other clips, and then I'm going to get into all the other news and open the phones up and take your calls. And I got Mitch McConnell saying we're not going to be intimidated. We're not going to back down. The Democrats pushing this far have finally gotten the blue bloods out of their damn coma, and this is a good day for America. I smell victory. The polls are way up in battleground states. But we won't be laughing when the Democrats with rogue troops set off a nuke and kill the president. I mean, let me tell you, they'll do anything. That said, you know, I've been forced to sue PayPal because it's mark of the beast. They're buying up all the online companies and online wallets so that you can't buy or sell like in China if you're not a good globalist. So I'm doing this to inform the president. I'm going to air really our strategy to PayPal and all the other arrogant folks. I can't expect the president to take action if I don't take action. So I told the White House and I told the campaign and I told national people that I'm going to sue. And I'm sure you can figure that out why I'm doing that. It's now a national story, dumbasses. And now the president will prepare action against persecution against conservatives and Christians by banking institutions. Do you think you're playing games with somebody here? Fools. We'll be right back. Infowars.com, newswars.com. We need funding, though, to continue the war. We got big specials. So get an InfoWars store right now if you want to see us win. You know, I'm proud to see Texas in the fight against the globalists. And I'm glad that InfoWars operations against the New World Order are seen as the most deadly weapon other than Trump in the fight. So I'm proud of Texas yet again, the spirit rising. But the California collapsing is trying to seize our state. Every news channel, even local conservative radio, puts down Senator Cruz, worships that hit-and-run, drunk driving, anti-gun, pervert, pedo-beto. or Beto, whatever his name is. We'll be talking about that more coming up late. I'll be looking for 8 when they pull that gate. And I'm here to tell you, we've got the poll numbers I haven't gotten to yet. 6, 7, 8 to 15 to 20. On average, it's about 12 points gains by Republicans in battleground states since this whole Kavanaugh fiasco. Now, I was getting how the wheels are coming off of this, and this woman's this global trotter. I mean, she's all over the world to surf and to paddleboard and to do everything else you can imagine. But she's afraid to fly to D.C., and then she talks this little mouse voice. Well, here she is attacking her friend because all these women said, no, they were never at a party, never happened, never met Kavanaugh. None of it's true. She spins it like she's going through a lot right now. There's something wrong with her, my friend. And so she just told me talk to her lawyer. But, yeah, the lawyer said it didn't happen, lady. But the media keeps going with, you've got all these witnesses in your own testimony. You kept saying you had all these witnesses. Lying again. God. Oh, but even the New York Times can't even say, oh, is she credible? Oh, we're so sorry. You can't ask if she's credible. I mean, she's a bug-eyed, Hillary-supporting, man-hating spook, in my view. Hell, we know her whole family is. And she's the nasty academic type that perches on top of the country. Not the spooks that actually do the killing and the fighting all over the world. No. She's the little wimp version that perches up there on top of all of us like reality winner. She should be reality winner's mommy. Well, guess what, bloodsuckers? We're awake. So listen to this sickening exchange where she throws her friend under the bus for saying she's not telling the truth. Here it is.
When you did leave that night, did Leland Kaiser, now Kaiser, ever follow up with you and say, hey, what happened to you?
I've had communications with her recently.
Mm-hmm. I'm talking about like the next day.
Oh, no. She didn't know about the event. She was downstairs during the event, and I did not share it with her.
Are you aware that the 3 people at the party besides yourself and Brett Kavanaugh have given statements under penalty of felony to the committee?
Yes.
And are you aware of what those statements say?
Yes.
Are you aware that they say that they have no memory or knowledge of such a party?
Yes.
Okay. Do you have any particular motives to ascribe to Leland?
I guess we could take those one at a time. Leland has significant health challenges, and I'm happy that she's focusing on herself and getting the health treatment that she needs. And she let me know that she needed her lawyer to take care of this for her. And she texted me right afterward with an apology and good wishes and et cetera. So I'm glad that she's taking care of herself.
We are back live, ladies and gentlemen. We're going to come back on the other side of this quick break and continue looking at this. And then Owen Benjamin, a well-known comedian and actor, is going to weigh in on this and tell some of his own life stories here on air. And I don't want anybody to question it. And look, he's smiling and laughing about it, but it's because he's under stress, okay? He's got a lot of courage. What Matt Damon did to him, I'm not even going to question it, what Matt Damon did to him. Because, Benjamin's a little guy, and Damon held him down.
It's really hard to have the energy at the end of the day to still get to the gym or to go for a run or go to the park or, heck, even take your dog for a walk. Believe me, I know. I spend hours in front of a screen and then hours in front of bright lights every day. But thanks to Super Male Vitality at InfoWarsStore.com, I still have that energy. There's no way I could have the energy at the end of a long day to fight back against the chemicals in the food and water, to fight back against the modern day lifestyle with the screen time and the extended hours, to still have the stamina and endurance, energy and drive to get to the gym, get to the park, and get exercise that you need for your health. So go to InfoWarsStore.com and get Super Male Vitality before it's gone. This is actually our last run of Super Male Vitality. So I want you to experience Super Male Vitality before it's too late.
Unleash the super male in you. Super Male Vitality.